Welcome to the User Interface Options, the Jweb Interface module, which describes the Jweb GUI, its tabs, key screens, and functions. The module also explains how to add a new user and perform basic interface configuration and network monitoring. Finally, the module explains how to upgrade Junos OS. The Jweb is a web-based GUI that is accessed by using either HTTP or HTTPS. It provides quick configuration wizards to simplify the most common configuration tasks by allowing you to directly edit the system's text configuration file without using the Junos CLI. At the end of this module, you will be able to describe the Jweb tabs, key screens, and functions, explain how to add a new user, perform basic interface configuration and network monitoring, upgrade Junos OS. The Jweb makes initial deployment very easy. No client software is necessary other than a standard web browser. After initial configuration, you can return to Jweb for system monitoring and maintenance. The Jweb interface provides several tabs for this purpose. The Jweb Dashboard tab provides a quick glance at the system status, ports, alarms, security events information in SRX devices, and utilization information. The Configure tab enables you to configure the system in a point-and-click fashion or by a direct edit of the configuration in text format. Help is available by clicking the question mark next to the various configuration options. The Monitor tab enables you to view the results of configuration changes, such as routing table entries. You can view most details related to the show commands of the CLI in Jweb using a point-and-click approach. The Jweb interface provides access to the features provided by the monitor commands in the CLI. It also converts output into convenient graphical formats. The Reports tab enables you to generate reports on demand and view them in HTML format. The Administration tab provides common network tools such as ping and traceroute to quickly assess network issues. You can also use the Administration tab to easily perform software upgrades and file system maintenance. Logging into the Jweb is straightforward. The Jweb interface requires a valid login. Jweb uses the same authentication methods as the CLI. If you want remote access for using Jweb, you must enable the HTTP or HTTPS service under the Edit System Services hierarchy level, as shown in the example. As HTTPS is the recommended protocol to use for Jweb access, note that to configure HTTPS, you need to specify how the certificate is obtained. The easiest way is to use a system-generated certificate, as shown in the example. Juniper Networks recommends that you use HTTPS for web management on any WAN where it is allowed. Note that the Jweb does not come pre-installed on select Junos platforms. However, Jweb does come pre-installed on SRX and vSRX platforms. For more information on installing the Jweb package on Juniper devices, refer to the Juniper website. Once you configure a device running Junos OS for access, you can log in using your web browser. If you configured the system to use an external authentication mechanism, such as a Radius server, Jweb will also use that mechanism for authentication. Otherwise, it uses the username and password configured on the local system. On devices such as the vSRX, once you log into the device using the Jweb interface, you are presented with the basic settings page of the configuration menu. That is, Configure, Device Settings, Basic Settings. And in addition, a pop-up box called Getting Started appears and overlays the right-hand side of the display. You can stop this pop-up box from appearing in future logins by clicking the Don't Show This Again checkbox. You can always get this Getting Started wizard back by clicking the Help icon, the question mark icon, at the top right corner of the Jweb screen and choosing the Getting Started item from the drop-down menu. On certain branch devices and in previous versions of the Junos software, the setup wizard appears when you first log into a device that has not yet been assigned a host name. Similarly, after you use this wizard the first time, you are able to get back to this screen at any time on devices running older Junos releases by clicking Configure, Device Setup, Setup in the top left corner of the Web Configuration tool, and then selecting Create New Configuration. This is the basic settings page you are presented with if you log into a VSRX. There are 5 configuration areas that this page addresses: System Identity Details, Date and Time Details, Management Access Configuration, Security Logging, and SNMP. You can expand each of these configuration areas to provision the details by clicking on the area title. When you expand the System Identity Details area in the Basic Settings page, you can set or change the host name of the device, change the root password of the device, configure DNS servers, and search domains for a local domain search list, if these are needed. Note that there is a small Help icon next to each field name. Hovering the cursor on that icon displays an explanation as to what type of data is expected in that field. Similarly, when the cursor hovers above one of the action icons on the screen, such as the plus sign, above the DNS server table, a description label appears indicating that the plus sign function is Create, to add a new line to the table. For example, to add a DNS server, click on the plus sign above DNS Servers table. A new line is created in a table, and a data entry box appears where you type the IPv4 address of the DNS server you would like to add. Click on the confirmation checkmark to the right of the data field to confirm the addition of the DNS server. Note that the configuration changes that you make on this page still needs to be committed to become active. The commit process is shown later. The Management Access Configuration section enables you to configure the IP address of the device management port, the loopback address for the device, the access methods that are enabled for management access to the device, the system services that are enabled for access, the ports on the device that allow management access through HTTP and HTTPS. If relevant, which system APIs are enabled, adding and removing of security certificates. This example shows the Management Access IP Address Configuration area for FXP0 in the Management Access Configuration section. The Management Access Configuration section allows you to enable or disable Telnet, SSH, FTP, Netconf, and Junos script management access to the device using the toggle switches. It also allows you to enable or disable HTTP management access, and if enabled, specifies which ports on the device allow management access in addition to FXP0. The HTTPS access has its own separate settings. You can enable or disable HTTPS access and specify which ports are allowed access aside from FXP0. Note that for ports to appear in the Available Ports list, they should already be defined in the device configuration. An important setting for HTTPS management access to the device is to specify the security certificate that is to be used for this secure access. The Management Access Configuration section enables you to select either a system-generated certificate or a local certificate that you can specify in the certificate table. The second section of the initial configuration screen enables you to configure the time. None of these fields are required. It is recommended that you configure the time on the device. The Date and Time Details section enables you to either specify Network Time Protocol or NTP servers as the time source for the device, sync the device to the time of the computer, or set the date and time manually. Note that if the time is changed manually, the Jweb session times out, and you need to log in again to Jweb. There are several additional configuration sections in the Configuration, Device Settings, Basic Settings, such as Security Logging and SNMP Basic Settings. These are beyond the scope of this module. When all the needed basic settings have been specified, you should save them by clicking the Save button. The Jweb interface then highlights the Commit icon. To commit the configuration changes made, click the Commit icon and select the appropriate commit option from the drop-down menu. The Getting Started section offers you various configuration areas that involve the displayed elements. Note, ensure that you click the Apply button, located at the bottom of the window, when you are finished with the Setup wizard. The Jweb interface provides several tabs that help you monitor and maintain your system. These tabs are Dashboard, Configure, Monitor, Administration, and Reports. Click each tab to learn more. You can use the Jweb Packet Capture Diagnostic tool when you need to quickly capture and analyze router control traffic on a device. Packet capture on the Jweb interface enables you to capture traffic destined for or originating from the routing engine. You can use the Jweb Packet Capture tool to compose expressions with various matching criteria to specify the packets that you want to capture. You can either choose to decode and view the captured packets in the Jweb interface as they are captured, or save the captured packets to a file and analyze them offline using packet analyzers such as Wireshark. The Jweb Packet Capture tool does not capture transit traffic. Note, alternatively, you can use the CLI monitor traffic command to capture and display packets matching a specific criterion. To perform network monitoring, click Administration, Tools, Packet Capture, Start. You can use the Jweb interface to install software packages uploaded from your computer. To perform the Junos OS upgrade, click Administration, Devices, Software, Upload Package. You can use the User Management page to add new users to the device's local database. For each account, you define a login name and password for the user and specify a login class for access privileges. To navigate to the User Management page, click Configure, Users, User Management. You can use Jweb to configure, add or edit, logical interfaces on your fast Ethernet or gigabit Ethernet interfaces. Note that you must have at least one logical interface configured on your physical Ethernet interface. To perform interface configuration, click Configure, Interfaces, Ports, Edit Logical Interface.
Welcome to the Junos OS Jweb Lab. This lab introduces you to the Junos OS Jweb interface. In this lab, you familiarize yourself with various Jweb interface features. At the end of this lab, you will be able to log in to the assigned VSRX1 device and explore the Jweb using both operational and configuration modes. Click Continue to begin the lab. This lab consists of 2 parts. Click each part to view its guided demonstration. Part 1. Logging in and exploring the Jweb Device Manager. In this lab part, you become familiar with the access details used to connect to the lab equipment. Once you are familiar with the access details, you use the Jweb interface to log in to the assigned SRX device and use the Jweb to become familiar with operational mode and configuration mode. You also gain experience with some of the tools and functionality available within operational mode and configuration mode. To begin, click a Step button in the Steps column to identify the step number and begin its task. To the Management Network diagram to determine the management address of the VSRX1 device. Log in to the VSRX1 device with lab as the username and lab123 as the password. Note that both the username and the password are case-sensitive. Issue the configure command to enter the configuration mode and load the lab1 start configuration file using the load override /var/home/lab/ijos/lab1 start.config command. After the configuration has been loaded, commit the changes and return to the operational mode using the commit and quit command. Open a web browser on the student desktop. Navigate to http://172.25.11.1 or to https://172.25.11.1. Note that when you use HTTP, a warning message will be displayed in the login box alerting you that this communication protocol is not secure. If the browser alerts you for permissions to use Flash or security certificates, please approve the actions. Log in with lab as the username and lab123 as the password and click Login. Familiarize yourself with the Jweb menus by completing the following sub-steps. Hover the mouse over the menu bar on the left. Examine the menu options that are available. Navigate to the dashboard by clicking the Dashboard tab in the navigation menu. View the displayed information. Click the Monitor tab and examine the options on the left. Navigate to Monitor, Alarms, Alarms, and see if there are any alarm details present. 9. Navigate to Monitor, Routing, Route Information to examine the active routes on the device. Part 2. Exploring Jweb configuration and administrative capabilities. In this lab part, you familiarize yourself with the configuration and administrative capabilities available in the Jweb interface. You also identify the key pages that relate to those capabilities. Jweb configuration page by clicking the Configure tab. Navigate to Configure, Users, User Management. Create a new user called Jweb. Use Jweb user as the full name and lab123 as the password. Keep the login class as read-only and use 100 as the login ID. You can perform these actions by completing the following sub-steps. Click the Create button. Define the user with the displayed details. Click OK in the User Details section. Click Save. Commit the new user by clicking the Actions button in the upper right corner. Then select Commit. Return to the CLI of the VSRX1 device. Verify that the user has been created by issuing the Show System Login command in configuration mode. Return to the Jweb interface of VSRX1. Remove the Jweb user that you created earlier. You can perform this action by completing the following sub-steps. Ensure that you are in the User Management Configuration page. Select the Jweb username checkbox and then click the Delete button. Click Yes in the Delete User Confirmation box. Click Save at the top of the screen. Click the Actions button, then select Compare to display changes in the configuration. After reviewing the changes, use the Commit option to commit the new configuration. Navigate to Administration, Tools, Ping Host. Enter the IP address of the student desktop, which is 172.25.11.254 in the management network, and click Start to begin the ping. Navigate to Administration, Devices, Config Management, History. Examine the different config files that have been saved in the history. Select the number 1 checkbox and click Compare. Log out of the Jweb session. 10. Return to the CLI session of VSRX1. Log out of the VSRX1 CLI session using the Exit command.
You have reached the end of this module. In this module, you learn to describe the Jweb tabs, key screens, and functions. Explain how to add a new user. Perform basic interface configuration and network monitoring. Upgrade Junos OS.